Oh, good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari. We're on drive with myself, Stefan, and Brian on this quite warm afternoon. It's about 28 degrees, about 82 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment, and we decided that we'd open up with these elephant. I went for a run this afternoon and saw these ellies on my way, and thought that we'd come and find them again to come and show you what they're up to. Now, what is quite funny is that as we decided to go live, the matriarch, with a silent command, we couldn't hear them at all, decided to move on. But what I do want to show you is the fact that there's a skeleton close by here. We just passed it on the way in there, and I've got a funny feeling these elephants are going to go and investigate that skeleton. And elephants are one of the unique creatures in that they have a concept of death, we think. They're very often taken intense interest in the bones of other animals, and even more intense interest in the bones of one of their own. And it's going to be interesting to see if they take an interest in the carcass that's over there. They're not standing, they're standing close to it, but not going up to it just yet. There we go. I can see one at it. I don't want to disturb them, so we're not going to park too close to them. But let me show you what they're up to. Have a look at that. That is unbelievable lure that you're having a look at over there. That is it's a carcass of a rhino. A rhino died there probably now a year and a bit ago. And have a look at the way that they just clustered around that carcass, touching it. They almost touch it reverently, and I've even seen elephant cover up dead animals with sticks and branches. But have a look at that. They're touching it with their trunks, they're feeling it with their feet. And all the elephant are doing that, the matriarch included. The matriarch of this particular herd is the one on the far right, the one with the sunken temples and the hip bones that are sticking out a little bit. But have a look at that. More than 10 elephant all squashed around there, all sniffing, taking their time around that carcass. Isn't that the most amazing thing? I don't see them picking up any of the bones, I just see them caressing the bones, smelling the bones. With the matriarch in the center, even the babies are taking notice of it. Have a look at that. Now this brings up the inevitable question of, do elephant have graveyards? Which is a question that I've been asked for years, and the answer to that question is yes, to a degree. Elephants have 6 sets of molars in their life, and when the last set of molars runs flat and runs out, basically they are forced into areas where the vegetation is very soft. Usually these are quite swampy or marshy areas, or areas adjacent to rivers. When these areas flood, the bones and the tusks of these elephants are collected and are deposited into sedimentary beds, and sometimes these sedimentary beds can be very many meters thick. And when people used to mine for sand, they used to come across these layers of elephant bones and their ivory. And to this day, mammoth ivory is mined in the same way, by using these so-called graveyards. Now have a look there. I don't want to get any closer. We can potentially, now that they've had some time, I see they're picking up the bones. The matriarch there, I can see her picking up some bones. You just see her trunk there through there where the foot is. That's what you're looking at the moment. She's every now and again picking up a bone. Now, for those new to the show, and please excuse me for diving right into an explanation of what they're doing. I just couldn't really wait. We're coming to you live. What I'm seeing is what you're seeing from Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Kruger National Park, or the Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa. And if you'd like to talk to us, you can send me some questions to answer on what we're seeing. You can use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email questions@WildEarthTV, and I'm sure that Tara and Jess will forward me as many as what they can. They were in the final control room, and between myself and Jamie, Brian and Andrew on camera, we will try and answer what we can. I see some of the herd, the younger bulls in particular, have moved off. They obviously got bored with examining the carcass. I just find that absolutely fascinating behavior. She's having a bit of a dust bath, the matriarch, at the moment. The area around the rhino carcass is quite dusty. It's obviously an area that gets frequented with hyena quite often. You can see a trunk through there picking up, just underneath that female's belly, picking up some bones there. Have a look at that. That's the lower jawbone. Whew, the flies are out in force today. Myself and Brian are covered in them. And now that they've all had a smell, they're now moving off in a procession. Not led by the matriarch just yet, but she is going through the middle of the herd. I don't see any elephant near her age, so she's the matriarch of this particular herd. She'd be the oldest and wisest and strongest member, all three of those, forming the foundations of what make a matriarch a matriarch. And she's the brains of the group. And everyone in this herd is related. It's all her children and successive generations of babies that make up this family herd. Isn't it wonderful? Let's see if we can stick with them. They don't look like they're feeding. They are spread out a little bit, but doesn't look like they're feeding just yet. It looks like they're just moving slowly through the bush. They are heading towards where some water is, although I doubt that they are at water. When I saw them a bit earlier this afternoon, they were having a mud bath. But who knows, you know. I love to make predictions. You'll notice if you watch a few of these safaris that 99% of the time when I ever say something, it never happens. So when I say that elephant only drink once a day, I'm not going to say that, because I am going to be proven wrong in the next 10 or 20 minutes. Much to Brian's amusement, I'm sure. We are going to be trying to stick with these ellies. I don't want to follow them, because I promise you, where elephant can walk, these cars cannot go as quick. So I'm going to try and go around them, actually. I think that's probably going to be the best. And we'll see if we can get in front of them and let them walk toward us. That's going to be the best. There's going to be a bit of bashing around as we head back to the road. And we're just going to make a big looping turn out to in front of them. They are looking like they're heading off towards Djuma Dam or Vuyatela Dam. It's just a big mud wallow at the moment with some catfish in it, actually. Not too much water in it. Oh, we've got some more ellies standing in the shade here. Well, this is fortuitous for us. We don't have to drive that far. We can give those ellies some time to reach the water. So this is another herd. standing in the shade of a massive jackalberry tree. This tree is absolutely dwarfing these elephants. It's one of the biggest trees on the reserve in actual fact. It's a giant old jackalberry tree. Diospyros mespiliformis is its genus and species, and is a wonderful shade-giving tree out here. And look, this Ellie's throwing some sand in his head, bro. This young elephant has realized that the bits and pieces of the termite mound that shares the ground underneath this tree, that he's been able to kick off, are providing him some much needed cooling off. Very, very cool. You notice that elephant has some white secretion coming out of its eye, and it's a glandular secretion. I always thought it was just in male elephant, but I was proven wrong the other day when we all learnt a little bit about it. It's actually in male and female elephant, and it comes from a gland that keeps the eyeball lubricated and clean, and then just collects in the corner of the eye, and you see it as a white residue. Youngster, the matriarch of this particular herd, that's the one that you're busy having a look at the moment. She's also not as old as that previous cow. She's slightly younger. Might be a sister of that old cow that we saw a little bit earlier around those bones. Quite often you find different herds of associated matriarchs where the matriarchs are associated with one another. Sisters and aunties have splintered off just because there's if they all stay together, there's just simply not enough food in any particular area to feed all the elephants, and they disperse during the wet season. But now, while it's dry and food sources food sources are limited and quite scarce, you find that these sister groups come together, and I've read books where elephants can number up to 1,000 individuals, and they reckon that all of them are related somehow. I mean, I'd love to see that. The most elephant I've ever seen together has been about 70 here in the Kruger National Park, and even that's big for the Kruger, 70 elephant. They're quite long-lived creatures. It's not uncommon for elephant to reach up to 60 years old. Which is amazing considering that they have to fend for themselves and find food in the bush. They don't live a convenient life like we do with medicine and doctors on tap and food around every corner. Well, I suppose they do have food around every corner, but they have to fend. They still have to find it themselves. This little guy here is enjoying his sand bath like you can't believe. He's just picking up trunkfuls of sand and just flinging it all over himself. And lately, I must say, I say it almost every day, but I am fascinated by elephant trunks at the moment. They are just the most amazing things. They have all of the muscle fibers that mammals can produce, including one that's unique to elephant, the helical muscle. That's unique to elephant. It's a spiral muscle that goes around their trunks and can help extend and elongate and contract their trunks without losing functionality like one of our muscles would, for instance. Okay? Excuse me, I was just on the radio there for a second. It seems like an elephant day today. Well, we see what's happening to that elephant herd on the way down to the water. We're going to leave these ones and go and see if they've got down to the water. We're going to send you back to Jamie. She's got another elephant to show you, another elephant herd to show you, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh dear, 0 out of 5. Sets, see if one of the others works.
Well, sorry about the sudden you left. You saw Jamie, you saw an elephant, and we realized that something's up, a gremlin's in Jamie's communication system. So it's not too much of a problem. We're just going to take a slow drive out to see what's happened to that elephant herd and see if they've gotten to the water just yet. And see if we can swap a mud bath, or a sand bath at least, for a mud bath. And, that little thing that ran across the screen to the right, that's a Great Daco that is powering across this open area. He may have gotten just a streak. I think he was running through the bush. Who knows what he was running from? They have the most unbelievable behavior of just bursting into gallops for no apparent reason. Good survival tactic. Tara has been feeding me some information over the last couple of days. There's a few of you that are concerned that my bald head is being attacked by the sun a little bit too aggressively. Thank you for your concern. I appreciate it. I do wear quite a lot of sunscreen. I put on every morning. Nice thick layer. It takes me about 3 hours to stop shining like a beacon. Is asked, is it true that when elephants see the bones of a deceased that they're in total silence? I mean, we just watched the elephants with those bones, and I can say that from my side there was absolutely no noise being made from those elephants, so they were silent to me. But a lot of elephant vocalization is done at a pitch that's too low for me to hear. I actually missed these elephants bathing, can you believe it? They had a bath in 3 minutes and are now walking away from us. Wow. Alright. Oh, let's have a look at some shiny elephant bums. That's incredible, and every single one of them had a splash on them. So obviously just popped in for a mud bath and are now heading into the grass in the upper reaches of this drainage line. I mistimed that one, eh? Isn't that a beautiful picture? Elephants, just giant elephants dwarfed by a giant landscape out here. Back to our discussion on the boneyard and what we witnessed with those elephants around those bones a bit earlier. Sharon in Pittsburgh has asked, is it a sign of intelligence that they mourn their dead? Do they mourn their dead? Sharon, apparently they do. I've seen very few dead elephants in my life, to be honest. It's not something that you see often. Probably 10 or 15 times in the last 16 years have I seen a dead elephant, and almost none of those elephants were associated with a herd. So I've never seen one that has just recently passed, but I have heard that they do definitely mourn those that have died, that it's quite a traumatic experience for them. And it's a well-known fact that elephants are super intelligent, that they have the intelligence of about a 13 to a 16-year-old child, depending on the books that you read. Excuse me, not making any eye contact. I'm just trying to reverse down this, or try and reverse it without throwing us over this embankment here, but I've managed to do that without incident. So we can go up the other side. Nice today. Alright, so we missed Ozeli's having a quick mud bath. I thought they'd spend more time there actually. But not to worry, we've got other elephants to go back to. So yeah, elephants are super intelligent. Whether the fact that they mourn their dead is a sign of this intelligence or not, is that a question I can say yes to? I'd like to say yes to that question. It feels like I need to say yes to that question. Only by default though. I think that their intelligence gives them an appreciation for death, and I think that that their intelligence offers them the ability to comprehend death. Do they mourn anything like we do? I don't really think so. I think it's just more of a, you can almost see that they go into sort of a melancholy state. There's no overt movements from them or anything like this. It's just literally just calm and controlled, and walk up, sniff, they tenderly touch the bones, move them around a little bit, and then they move off. Which is exactly what I saw there now. What we saw there now. Alright, so we've got a few more elephants on this road, which is a good thing. Nice big one over there. Got a little guy on our left hand side, and we've got Ellie in our front. He is there. There. Trying this fancy trick where I'm looking at the monitor that we got and pointing out things for you. Let's go and see what he's up to. Young bull elephant can sometimes be quite playful with the way that they deal with cars. They're obviously inquisitive, much the same as what teenagers are. and maybe we're lucky and he has a bit of an interaction with the car. I'm obviously not trying to elicit any reaction, which is why I'm driving very slow, and I'm also not driving at him. As you can see, I'm driving just past him. He's standing in the open, which is what's making him stand with his head up like that. Just playful. Ooh, for those of you that can see these flies all over my head today, they are busy. Let's see what she in actual fact. Now have a look at that tail that she's cocked like that. And now it's being held quite straight now. Quite a lot of ellies in this little drainage line today. So yeah, she's watching us, not moving, not doing anything with her trunk. A tail that's held stiffly like that, wanting to cock to the side, means that we are just on that boundary of what she's comfortable with. That cocktail that you're looking at there, it's a subconscious sign. There we go, have a look at that. Now if she was very upset with us, she would have moved off. That's literally a subconscious sign. She would have given us some other sign that she's unhappy, but it's just a nice lesson for me to show you all of this language that we taught. Now she's going to turn around, there we go. So now that looking, you'll see that the ears have opened. So contrary to popular belief, the ears flapping is not a sign of aggression. The ears open, trunk a little bit curled, that's just indecisive. She's chewing on the end of her trunk, much the same as what someone would chew on her fingernails. And there you got a bit of displacement behavior, so you'll notice she'll probably be playing with that stick, not really doing anything with that stick, just playing a little bit with it. Why I'm busy teaching you all of this is that it's important when you are watching elephant that you understand their languages, that you understand what they're trying to tell you. Not only is it important for us guides to learn this, but it's also important for trails guides, for guides that operate on foot around these animals, to learn their language. It becomes even more important. Lions obviously show you their teeth, they growl, they charge at you, they kick up a lot of dust. Elephants have a lot more subtle ways of talking to you, and it's best to use a youngster, a teenager, to help you learn these signs. They tend to be a little bit more insecure, and so in that insecurity they exhibit all of these signs. If you have an adult elephant doing what this one is doing, I would have moved off a long time ago. Adult elephants are a lot more tolerant, but once angered, an elephant has the ability to really become scary and incredibly dangerous very, very quickly. And it's something that I avoid as much as what I can. So once again, just to reiterate, this elephant's showing us no overt aggression at all. In actual fact, she's calmed down absolutely. If she felt threatened, she would have moved off. It's a young elephant. So what we're doing, 100% fine. That's a young bull that's come up behind his sister or cousin. Judging from the fact that they look around about the same age, I'd probably say they were cousins. Now she might come at us. You can see that head forward. She might open her ears as she gets a bit closer. Notice I haven't done anything. She's approaching us. She might put her ears up. Sorry, my dome, my pink dome getting in the way again. So head up, ears open, kicking with her foot. There we go. Oh, she's big. Trunk open, or trunk up, ears wide, head up. Kicking sand, turning around. No trumpeting, that would be the next stage. Breaking and thrashing branches would be another stage. And then obviously the most dangerous of all the stages is when an elephant curls up the trunk, ears go flat, and they run at you with not a sound. That would be the last stage. That would be a situation to be avoided at all costs. This lady is just used to being the biggest in the jungle. Now we have a relationship with these animals, believe it or not. They're not our pets. We don't know them personally. I don't know this elephant from a bar of soap. But because people and animals live in such close connection with one another, we treat them with respect, utmost respect, and they treat us with utmost respect. To have an elephant that is very aggressive with cars is obviously a danger to human life. And elephants can learn bad manners. An elephant that constantly runs at cars and has cars reverse away from it or run away is an elephant that has a bad behavioral trait reinforced, almost like a dog that learns how to bite people. And there are a lot of instances in the Kruger National Park and other reserves all over Africa of rogue elephants, as they're called, doing significant damage to people and property. Aren't those ears amazing, eh? Reminds me a lot of myself, an elephant, the fact that I've got these enormous appendages on the side of my head. Only mine can't flap nearly as much as what these guys can. The reason why they're flapping is that a body the size that an elephant has generates an enormous amount of metabolic heat. And being a mammal, they need to keep their body temperature stable. He's throwing some sand all over us, thank you. They need to keep their body temperature stable. And one of the ways that they bring their heat down in their body is by pumping all the blood that they have in their body through their ears every couple of minutes. I can't remember if it's 12 or 25 minutes, but it's in a very short space of time, and they can actually cool their body temperature down by 3 degrees. They're having a sand bath now, isn't this fantastic? That's why the picture's gotten so hazy, is they're kicking up an unbelievable amount of dust into the air. You'll notice when this elephant in the front is picking up the sand there that she's using the fingers at the end of the trunk. They are front to back fingers. And have a look, they've fully relaxed that trunk at the moment. Fingers are open. She was now just kicking sand into those fingers and scooping it up at the end of that trunk. Let's see if she does it again. And that is used to feed, pick up, inspect, drink water, scratch, pull down, rip apart, pry open. There she goes, kicking some sand into her trunk, scooping it up. Well, aren't we treated to a special sight? Once again, just testimony to the fact that these elephants are completely relaxed with us. All her previous shows was just her showing off, trying to show us that she's bigger than us. Wow, they're covering us in dust at the moment. An entire dust bath just covered myself in brine and the camera lens. Isn't that just amazing? Now, coming back to elephant communication, a question that we were asked a little bit earlier about are elephants silent around boneyards? And my answer to that was elephants do also have communication that is below our pitch of hearing. Actual fact, most of their communication is below our pitch of hearing, and elephants are actually big enough to generate infrasound or infrasonic sound waves, which are ultra low frequency sound waves that have the ability to travel through the bush much easier, and they've been known to communicate in open areas up to 10 kilometers away, which is about 6 miles. I mean, in your imagination, think to yourself, 6 miles is probably about the average distance away from a person's house where your kids go to school. Imagine being able to talk to your children in the classroom from the comfort of your bedroom and have a full-on conversation. That's basically the distance that these elephants can talk to one another. I mean, I just find it absolutely amazing. It's very rare that an elephant, even one that's on its own, is not in contact with another elephant. Even bulls that roam on their own are almost always in contact with other elephant. Isn't that a beautiful sight? She is just covering herself in sand. The reason why they're doing this is A, to get rid of some flies and biting insects, and B, it's just to put cool sand. It's literally just below the surface of the sand, is to take that cooler sand. Oh, you got a bit jealous? I wonder why he did that. That was nasty of you. Is to take that cooler sand and to put it on the head and on the shoulders, which adds a layer of insulation. The top of an elephant's head and its back, the temperatures on the top of their head and back can reach up to 50 degrees centigrade. That's as hot as an asphalt or tar road gets in summer. So this layer of coolish dust just adds an insulating layer and just further helps them to cool down. Trunks are completely relaxed. You can actually see the elephant on the left. The trunk is hanging quite much lower than the level of the feet, so the position of the head to the ground. Now swinging her trunk around for whatever reason.
She's patting the point where she got stabbed.
Brian says she's patting the point where she got stabbed by this cousin of hers. I think she needs to use her trunk and give him a hiding. And you can see the elephant on the right hand side. He's contracted his trunk. It's a lot shorter than where his feet are. And they can actually scrunch it up quite a lot. They can contract it using those helical muscles without the muscles contracting and losing function. What are you doing, boy? She's going to spin around. You look at her back feet, the position of her back feet. Quite often they do this pirouette. An elephant have they can turn around literally on a dime. Like this guy, he's trying to build himself up to have an interaction with us. He wants to show us how big he is. It's a male and a female. Female's on the left, the male's on the right. She's almost full grown. Females at the shoulder in the Kruger National Park reach a height of about 3.2 meters as an average, with males going up to about 3.8 to 4 meters at the shoulder. And still tiny. These guys are still teenagers. I would reckon that they're probably in their early teens, somewhere below and around 15 years old. Wow, the flies are insane today. I must have about 30 flies buzzing around my head. It feels like I've got a helmet of flies on. They're driving me insane. And I don't seem to see not even one fly around one of those elephants. I don't know what they're eating. I need some. Now things might change a little bit with this big female that's coming out of the bushes. Now, where I'm quite comfortable to read the language and stick around for a youngster, I will definitely be keeping my eye on this lady. She's a fully grown adult cow, and she's now coming to put herself between us and the youngsters. And this is giving this one some guts to she's now giving some confidence to this youngster. Please excuse my bald head ambushing your shot from time to time. It's really difficult to get it out of the way. It's enormous. Looks like some growth your TV is getting. Now, these elephants are also giving us a massive dust bath. Once again, just to let everyone feel rest assured that elephant wouldn't be giving themselves dust baths within feet of our vehicle if they were upset with our presence. I might have to reverse if these youngsters don't make some space between us and this old lady. She definitely might feel the need to put herself between us and them. And at that time, we might have to just create some distance. But for now, all is good. You'll notice the situation we're in. There's a branch on the left hand side. Elephants would obviously be reluctant to walk over that, and between that branch and us we have 3 elephants and a road in an open area and us. With the oldest of the elephants on the very right hand side, she's an old female. Why I'm watching this elephant with a beady eye is because if she tries with the rest of them to come between the branch and us, there's a good chance that she might find that she's feeling a little bit uncomfortable with us. But while she's keeping an eye on us, watch that, watch her head. There we go. I think she's going to choose just to move on. There we go. She's chasing the troublemaker. How amazing is it that we have the ability to understand? Now we've got a young bull off on our right hand side. He'll probably, with the presence of his mom right here, he'll probably feel like he can come and give us a bit of nonsense as well, like his cousins did. Yeah, definitely. Always brave when mommy's around. Another cow coming at us. Now these elephants, you might find that they are coming across as a little bit more wary than elephants you may have seen before. Now that could be a combination of things. We're so close to the Kruger National Park, and the part of the Kruger National Park where we sit close to is so unpopulated that these elephants might actually not see people all that often, or vehicles all that often. Definitely won't see vehicles with cameras on like we have, or a camera on like we have. Or it could just be a sign of the seasons. With food being quite scarce, elephants they're not starving, but you know, when things are tough, emotions run high. You might find this just adds a certain edginess to them. Lisa's made an interesting observation, and elephant feet, they look round in the front and oval at the back, and you're 100% right there, Lisa. They are absolutely round in front and oval at the back, and that's because the elephants carry about 60% of their weight on the front half of their body, across their front legs. And the round foot in the front just helps to distribute that weight evenly. Alright, we're going to change position a little bit over here. We're going to turn around, and I've got enough dust in my teeth and in my ears and in my eyeballs from that elephant bath. They shared their dust bath with us. So dig it out. Valerie, I love your comment there. Thank you so much for that. I actually thought to myself, let me stand in the dust here a little bit longer and see if the flies get any less with all that dust that they were flinging over me, but it never helped. What a funny feeling. It's because of what I look like. I'm probably like a shining beacon to these flies as we drive through here. Now these elephants also look like they're going to be heading off to the dam. It doesn't look like they're going to be there in the next minute or two. They'll definitely get through there. And for those new to the show, we do have access to static cameras at a lot of dams. We actually got a lot of cameras around the world. And the dam that these elephants will probably frequent in a bit is the Djuma cam, the Djuma webcam. You can have a look at these ellies having a bath. Let's see if we can get in front. Oh, we've got, interesting, we have 3 herds of elephant that are around us at the moment. We have the elephant herd that had the interaction with the bones. We have the elephant herd that was underneath the tree. And we have the elephant herd that was taking the dust bath with us just now. And so we've got quite a lot of elephant here. I'd say we've probably got in this area probably upwards of about 40 or 50 elephants. That's a lot. These flowers, man. They have this ability to smash into your head. It feels like they're doing 200 miles an hour and then instantly go from little missiles to the most ticklish things on the face of the planet. Now we've got an elephant approaching us from cover. Quite often they do that. In actual fact, it's one of the things when you're a trails guide you learn never to do. It's instinct to want to get cover between yourself and whatever's angry with you. But often that elicits a charge even closer than than what you originally planned for. It's always best to stay in the open if you have got a confrontation. You'll see this elephant here using the bushes to sneak up on us. Busy eating an incredibly thorny bush. So watching that elephant just casually pluck that tree into its mouth. There we go, watch that. That's all used with a trunk. William in Virginia has just asked, how much pressure can an elephant exert just using the trunk? William, I've never read anything or found any research on the force that an elephant can exert with their trunk, but I have watched them push over the most massive trees. I, in actual fact, a couple of years ago took my vehicle in low range first gear and put it against the tree to see if I could get the branches at the top to move. My vehicle didn't even shake the tree, and yet an elephant casually leant his trunk against the tree, shook the tree vigorously to let a bunch of marulas fall out of the tree, and casually picked up the marulas and carried on with his day. So definitely more force than what my Land Rover at that height could exert. As to exactly how strong a trunk is, I mean, the whole thing's a muscle. It's a muscle that they exercise every day. I would imagine quite a lot, you know, coupled with their body weight. I think they definitely can do some damage, for sure. Comes the matriarch again. And they are also heading to that boneyard. I think we're going to go and see if we can get a bit closer this time around. You can see how big this elephant is in her body. She's a massive elephant. Have a look at this little guy standing right here. It's her baby. He's about a year old. He's busy stuffing a branch into his face. And here's another youngster coming into frame now. Also probably from the same cow. Also with a branch in her face. And they look like they're also on their way to the dam. And Jamie has just asked, how many liters of water can an elephant's trunk hold? Maggie has just asked, how many liters of water can an elephant's trunk hold? And a big elephant bull can hold about 10 to 12 liters of water, so about just over 2.5 gallons of water in their trunk. Obviously an elephant half that size would probably be half the volume. Tough to say, but probably. I think it's going to be worth us trying to get up to that boneyard again to have a look. While we do, Jamie has got her radio comms back, and while we get into position around that boneyard to see if they go back up to have another sniff of this herd of elephant, we're going to send you back up to Jamie, and we'll catch you in a bit.
So guys, good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari. So guys, good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari. We have had a little bit of problem communicating in Arathusa. So apparently Andrew and myself made a somewhat surprise guest appearance with those Ellies that we had. Unfortunately, because they were so close to us, they chose to come right up to us. We couldn't actually leave them for quite a while. We had to just sit and see what they were doing and just let them get comfortable. So Andrew and I had a really nice Ellie sighting to ourselves, but I hear that you've been having a fantastic time with Steph and those Ellies. And what interesting behavior, just sniffing around with those bones, and so many herds in the same place. So on my brief trip into Arathusa, I learned a couple of things. First of all, the Nkuhuma Pride are now on Simbambili, so they are hanging out there. And there's also a male leopard up on Simbambili. However, those tracks that Steph had of the two leopards, the male and the female, around Treehouse Road, which is where we are at the moment, were probably from Tingana and Kwetile. So for those of you who are regular viewers, you might remember that a couple of days ago there were reports that they were mating. And for those of you who are new viewers, Tingana and Kwetile are two leopards, so a female and one of the large dominant male leopards. And the guides tell me that they had tracked them in towards Vuyatela. So that's where we are now. It's probably those two that Steph was on the tracks of this morning. So they probably are in this area somewhere. And it's just a matter of having a look around and seeing what we can find. In terms of my mystery female leopard from the sunrise safari this morning, she's sort of disappeared off into the block. Not entirely sure which direction she went from where she was. She went and had a sniff at that little baby buffalo carcass that the Nkuhumas killed last night, but there was not much meat left for her, which is understandable if 7 lions feed on a carcass. So she's moved off somewhere in that direction. So we're just going to loop around Treehouse. It is very, very hot today, and there's quite a hot wind blowing as well. It's unusual. It's keeping us nice and warm. So I'm hoping that at some point these two leopards, if somewhat exhausted from their activities, might go and have a drink at a Treehouse Dam, which still has probably some of the most remaining water in this area. So without further ado, let us continue on our mission and see if we can find these mystery leopards. And I am certainly very, very keen to follow up on this sighting because I have never ever seen Kwetile, and I have heard reports that she is a truly beautiful leopard. So I just want to get hold of Steph on the Game Drive channel, just let him know that I've changed my plans and I'm going to try and help him follow up here. Steph for Jamie. Steph, I've left Arathusa. I was just wondering where you last had those in Konzo for those Ingwe. Oh, I just found them, never mind, thank you. Okay, so you might have heard in that conversation that I said I've just found them. And I have indeed. They're very, very fresh from late last night or early this morning. I'm going to try and shift us around so we can have a look. Unfortunately, I think the vehicle's going to put them in shade. Do you think we'll be able to get them from here, Andrew?
Possibly, let's give it a try.
Let's just try. There we go. Beautifully done. And that looks like a female to me. And I know that Steph also told me that he had tracks of a male as well. I just want to hop out and have a look. Let's see if it's just the female. Oh, sorry, let me just listen to this update. Okay, so let me hop out and have a look. It looks to be just one female, but I want to see if there's a male here as well. Oh yes, there's definitely a male walking behind. But also up and down, so there's tracks coming this way and tracks coming this way on this game path. And these must have been the tracks that Steph had sometime early this morning. So let's do a loop because I hear that one of the other guides has picked up on tracks around twin dams. But my guess is that these leopards are somewhere between here and Twin Dams in this block. So we do have some exciting times. These are definitely a male and a female leopard, and almost certainly a mating pair. And it's probably Tingana and this female Kwatile, who I haven't yet managed to see. Now Kwatile means the angry one or the grumpy one, so I'm curious to see if she lives up to her name and why she is called that. And maybe if some of the regular viewers might know the story behind her name, why she's called Kwatile, and a little bit about her background, and I'd love to hear that. So if you could send that through to me, you can do so on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And if you are a new viewer, we are always very keen to hear from you, and we welcome any questions or comments that you might have for us. So I think in this particular case, my most effective approach is going to be to hop off and follow this game path and see where these two leopards have gone. So we're going to cross back across to Steph, who one of his multiple elephant herds are coming down to Djuma waterhole to have a drink. So we will catch up with you a little bit later. I'm really hoping we're going to get to see these two leopards a little bit later. Cheers for now.
Well, welcome back. We've decided that we're going to come and see how these elephants would tolerate us being a little bit closer than what we normally get to them at the water. Now that we've made some friends with them, they're not too far behind us, and we're just going to sit over here where we are now. These flies around this dam are mad. These elephants are coming, and I'm hoping that they're going to have a mud bath right here next to us. Here they come. You can almost see the eagerness that they have for the mud cooling down, some water. I didn't want to get too close, but I did want to be close enough that they felt comfortable having a bath with us around. Have a look at that. Bliss. That water was obviously disgusting. You can see her flick the trunk away there. Here comes the matriarch into the shot, swinging the trunk happy. Into the mud, and immediately cools herself down. Cooling themselves down is actually more important than staying hydrated at this time of the year. There's quite a lot of water around us in the reserve at this time of the year in the form of pumped dams. But the temperatures are starting to heat up, and you can see before they drink, mud bathing immediately cools their skin down. Have a look at those amazing trunks again, just in action. watching elephant have their bath. Can almost imagine that female smiling. Look at that face. Awesome. All following that female's lead now of having a mud bath, except for this young bull on our left hand side, but not to worry, he'll come and join in the fray in a second. Have a look at that picture, isn't it beautiful? You can see that female's flinging the mud now, she's kicking that mud. Definitely that female's the one to watch. She's the one that's going to have all the experience in mud bathing, although I must be honest, the female, the youngsters are the ones that will probably go into the water and have a full-on bath. Let's see what she does. This baby is covered. That was from Mom's kick. She definitely got him full of you can see he doesn't quite know what he's doing with his trunk just yet. Definitely not as practiced as his mother is, that's for sure. But he knows he must kick. Standing ankle deep there in the water. Let's see if he lies down. He wants to drink. Ugh, but the water is disgusting. Here we go. Practicing the moves, not quite getting it right. He'll stand at the back and let Mom spray him with mud. As we almost don't know where to look. There's just elephants doing things everywhere. This youngster over here, he's having a good old time. He's managed to kick himself open a mud bath. There he goes. we really don't know where to look. There's just so much going on here. And have a look at this guy. He's getting his bum all full of mud. Let's see if he puts his face in it. Yeah, he lay down. Wow, there. Just quickly go to that female she's doing. There we go. She's lying down. Wow. Have a look at that. Oh, baby's gonna maybe climb up on her back, or try at least. There you go. What are you doing, little guy? Wanting to wrestle with Mom. Oh, what a fantastic sight. Look how deep that mud is. Not much water left there. You know, this elephant herd hasn't been that relaxed with us, and they also don't know. Have a look at this. That's just a little bit of dominance play going on. These elephants don't know that there's a pumped pan of clear water, clean pumped water, literally 100 yards from here. They don't know that, which then helps me to cement my hypothesis that the elephant's not from this area. They've just come into this area. Mud bath finished. Let me go forward a little bit. Wow. Once again, massive elephants dwarfed by a massive sky. Just enjoying a few minutes of peace and quiet with these ellies, just enjoying them basically, feeding off the energy that they're giving off, this relaxed, content, good feeling. This elephant's trying to scratch his foot. He maybe has a thorn in his foot and he was just using that stick to scratch it out. Still trying to drink. This water definitely is not the best water, and you'll notice that they're just sipping off literally from the toppest layer of water, trying not to get their trunks into the mud, too much sediment and silt. They'll just be using the tippest of the water. You'll notice there, that elephant there, just using the tip. There you go, you'll see there, just the tip of the trunk trying to get to the toppest layer of clean water. I had a drink, messing a little bit. That one is so full of mud. What a fantastic sight. I want to show you something quickly. These elephant might climb. Oh no. So, I want to chase the saddle-billed stork that's been inhabiting here. That's why they've got their heads up. Nothing for no other reason. There's just a saddle-billed stork that's joining these elephants here. It's now run away. A big, strong elephant to have chased away the nasty bird in their mind. Let's see if one of these youngsters tries and climbs up the steep embankment. Quite often elephant will try that. It looks like this one on the right hand side is going to be doing that. The way that they climb is quite phenomenal, and let's see if they do it. Let's see if he's brave enough to climb up the steep embankment. No, he's not going to do it. Watch this elephant try and climb this embankment now. Watch how, I mean, that's a pretty steep embankment. For a human to get up there, you're going to need all fours. Not that an elephant doesn't have all fours, but you'd think that something that weighs 2 tons. Watch that. Watch it. He may go down to his knees or use his head. And up they go. And quite quick as well. So standing on top of an embankment will not save you if you've got elephant around you. Let's see how this one manages to do the same thing. Baby steps. Using the knees, you see that? Getting the front foot up, other foot up. They look so cumbersome when they do that, but they're not really. Watching them do that, Blair has asked if elephants ever step on their trunks. A few weeks ago, Blair watched a baby elephant step on its trunk. No, they're very aware of the tip of their trunk and take great lengths not to damage it. And I think it's quite an instinctual thing. It would be like, it's not the same as closing your finger in a door, stepping on your trunk. It would be the same as trying to step on your finger. You know, when you were walking around and crawling, I think it's the same. There's an awareness, a subliminal awareness of where your appendages are. Elephants just got a fifth one that they are aware of. Right, now these ellies are having a bit of a dust bath around the corner. And we're going to do something that elephant love, and that's be lower than them. See what this young male, that was all his head flapping that he was doing. Anyway, they're moving off. And I think that is going to be the end of our early sighting. Yeah, I think they've more than brought their part to the table. I'm quite happy to let them carry on without further disturbance from us and my rambling voice. Even I get sometimes a bit bored with my voice in this monotone that I have at the moment. Excuse me, I got a bit of sinus. But not too bad. Let's carry on with our drive. This morning we were tracking two leopard, a male and female. Lee, one of my colleagues, has just been tracking them for the whole day. And he's got an update on their tracks. He hasn't found the animals just yet, but he's got an update on the area of their tracks. I think it's a good time that we move into that area, see if and that's what we're going to do, basically. Alright, just to finish off the last question that we didn't get to, and I'm sorry about that, Valerie. But yes, it's testimony to how dry this atmosphere is at the moment. That mud on those elephants went from shiny to matte in literally a couple of seconds. The relative humidity at the moment is probably in the single digits where we are at the moment. It's so dry that my nose and everything is just dry as a bone. So absolutely, it's a very, very dry time of the year. Now, the tracks of those leopard, I'm just trying to, in my mind, picture where they've walked from, where they might be going to, and where they're going to be hidden and what they're going to be doing. And they were coming from this direction towards this way. And leopard like to walk in straight lines. So I think what we're going to do is come up and down one of these drainage lines here and see if we can hear or see anything. See if we can pull this leopard out of the bag. And from one leopard tracking escapade to another, I think it's it's a good idea if Jamie gives you an update of what she's up to. She's also on the tracks of Tungana, and I'm sure she's got an update for you. So we'll catch up with a little bit as soon as you got something more to say. See you in a while.
So guys, welcome back, and after a very warm, very brisk walk through the bush, I'm afraid to say that I've got nothing to report. They did come generally in the direction of Treehouse Dam, and then they moved into quite a thick block, and I walked through it, but I couldn't find, I lost their track somewhere in there. So I'm just moving slowly along here just to have a look, see if maybe they came down for a drink at the dam. We do have quite a few straggling buffalo who I saw from a distance as I walked up here. Just a nice big herd of buffalo, also wallowing in the mud. They seem to have the same idea as the elephants. This is a good place to spend a rather hot afternoon. To possibly shift around to the other side just because the light is very, very bright. Just have a look around how many there are. When I was tracking to find these leopards, I did pick up on the oxpecker noises, so I did know they were here, and then I just poked my head over a termite mound, had a look at them, and then carried on looking for the leopards. And what I have learnt about mating leopards is generally they tend to favour being hidden away in drainage lines. They like to be as cryptic as possible. And this dam is definitely, dust bath and lying down. It's a good place to spend an afternoon. We've got one fairly old looking buffalo making his way towards the water. Stop to have a look at us. And you can, lots of flies buzzing around his head and around ours as well. Just standing, observing us, and trying to calculate if it's worth coming down to the water. You'll probably find these boys have spent almost the entire day here, alternating between grazing around the drainage line and then coming back for a drink and a bit of a wallow. Here we go. Time to quench his thirst a little bit. I'm not sure if you can hear it over the sound of the wind blowing, but he's making the most incredible slurping noise. It's like he's drinking through a straw. Can hear him. It sounds like when you finish a milkshake, there's the last dregs at the bottom. You can see those clouds and clouds of flies. They're only going to get worse as summer comes through. Still not entirely sure what to make of us. I think I might have given them a little bit of a fright when I walked through here, because I don't think any of them saw me. They were just aware they might have heard me or maybe caught my scent on the wind. So it might have unsettled this one a little bit. Doesn't look too concerned though. Now that, oh no, still not finished drinking, still thirsty. And buffalo are very, very water dependent animals. They need to drink at least once a day, but probably more than that, especially as it starts to get hotter and hotter. And we'll see as the dams start to dry up, they're probably going to start moving back towards some of the more permanent water sources along the rivers. I just want to shift a little bit closer because Andrew and I were talking a little bit earlier about the way that buffalo hooves are structured. So I do just want to shift around and see if we can get a nice view of the way that they walk and those two little dew claws on the back. So let's just shift around and see if we can get there.